Greetings. Maybe March, but it's definitely still winter here in northern Oregon. Well below freezing, it's snowing outside, and there's at least a foot of snow on the ground and has been for weeks. In order to keep ourselves in running water, we're melting the snow. And people apparently want to know the process, so let's take a look. Start out, we go outside and we collect it in our handy dandy bucket. Always use a plastic bucket. 5-gallon buckets are worth their weight in gold. Want to collect more ice than snow if you can help it. Snow has not very much water content. It's more like 80 to 90% air. So you want to collect, solid ice if you can. You're going to get more water out of it. You'll make less trips in and out of the cold. From the bucket, goes on to the electric space heater here. And we're always very careful about spilling and dripping and that sort of thing. We do not want to have an electrical fire or a short or anything, especially if it kills the heater. It's well below freezing outside, and it will be that cold inside of here very quickly if this thing dies. So we very carefully melt it here, and from there we transfer it into a nice handy dandy little receptacle to pour it into the filter. Boop. You'll notice it has this nice filter screen, obviously keeps particulate matter out, that sort of thing. Pretty handy. And from there down into the single 1-gallon container. And you're going to probably ask why we're not going straight into a larger container from the filter, and that's in case there are any spills up top here. You could have it spill down into here and it could contaminate your water. And if you have a mostly full jug of, like our 7-gallon holding jug here, you'll contaminate the whole thing and have to start all over. So it's better to transfer it from one into the bigger one. And from here, our bigger one over here is about 7 gallons, BPA-free plastic. These are very, very cheap. You get them all over the place. We got this at a store called Bi-Mart here in Oregon. And from here, we pour it in. And we do treat with sodium hypochlorite bleach between here and the holding tank, the water holding tank for the trailer. Because you just never know what's going to happen between here and there. You can't necessarily be sure. So we follow FEMA recommendations and use plain sodium hypochlorite bleach. No scents, no anything like that, no fabric softeners. And according to FEMA, you can use 6 to 8 drops of pure sodium hypochlorite per gallon. So we follow the minimum recommendations here. Just put 6 drops per gallon in here as we go, and it should smell a little bit like chlorine. That means it's working. Want to let it sit for at least half an hour because of how long it takes for us to melt the full 7 gallons of water. The bleach has plenty of time to do the killing of any extra waterborne pathogens, anything that might still be like on the inside of the can. And from the water holding tank on the RV trailer here, we go into a Brita. Now you're probably wondering why not just drink it straight. Well, there's still the sodium hypochlorite flavor. It can be a little bleachy. And the nice thing is that the carbon filter in the Brita helps remove that bleach flavor. So it tastes more like just plain water. And it does have certifications to remove things like copper, cadmium, zinc, mercury, that sort of thing. So if there's any extra contamination in the snow, which is essentially rainwater, there can be different forms of contamination in the rainwater and the snow, so you want to definitely treat. You don't just want to eat that straight unless it's a dire survival situation, eating snow or drinking melted snow. You don't want to do that. So that is the basics of the system, and so far for weeks now we've been able to keep ourselves in water, running water, simply by following this system, staying on top of it, and melting a little snow or ice every single day. And we're definitely going to say this is for survival only. If you can, go buy larger containers of water. You know it's clean. You know that it's safe. This is kind of just more our style. This is how we do things. We take care of ourselves. We figure out the ways to do it that's safe, so we're not putting ourselves at risk. Making sure we're still getting good, clean drinking water, because that is one of the most critical things for anybody to stay alive on this planet, is good, clean drinking water. Without that, we all die. And that's why we often rant about people mistreating the water upstream and that sort of thing, because we all rely on that. And, any industrial pollution into the air comes down as snow melt, and the snow is, or rain. That's what we're all essentially drinking. Everything we're watering our crops with, everything that we eat, it drinks that same water. So It's very important to be able to have good, clean water in your life, and this is how we're doing it in the middle of the bitter cold of late snowy winter here in Northern Oregon. And we thank you so much for joining us in the Old Junkie Trailer to talk about it.